Welcome to the PT Legends podcast, where co-host Dave Bess and myself, Scott Carpenter, share our journey and secrets of success. From our humble beginnings as personal training employees of a big box gym to struggling studio owners that have made every mistake in the book, to where we are now, the owners of a multi-seven-figure business operating multiple personal training studios internationally, and now coach and mentor to fitness professionals in 5 countries and counting. This is our story, and these are our secrets. Subscribe to our podcast, learn, take action, and build your own fitness empire. Welcome back to the PT Legends Show. I am your host, Scott Carpenter, rocking it solo as a host, but we have an awesome guest today. Today's show is about the fortune is in the follow-up with Dustin Bogle. Awesome guy. Before we get to the episode, this is, of course, brought to you by PT Legends, where we help you shatter the glass ceiling in your business by teaching you the exact steps on how to, at the very least, double or triple your currently monthly rates for new clients and charge your true value, even if you bolt on a high-ticket transformation or just raise your prices. What if every client paid you 2 to 4 times more than they currently are? How would that change your business? How would that change your life, more importantly? This is exactly what we teach you how to do without doing any more work than you are already doing. So if you're interested, go to ptlegends.com or book a call from the link in the show notes if you're ready to learn more. So now back to the show, back to this episode. Dustin, welcome to the PT Legends podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Scott. I'm super excited to just talk shop and help these guys get some more sales in their gyms, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So for those of you, Dustin Bogle is a multi-location gym owner. He is also the founder of Gym Reinforcements, which offers done-for-you lead nurture, which is a really, really tricky spot for a lot of gym owners. And in fact, Dustin, I think that's why you created it. It's like this was a pain point for you. You created a solution, and then like other gym owners, like, hey, I have that same problem.
Yeah, honestly, it came up in 2020 when all of us had to close our doors. And so everything you're used to running physically, we all had to learn to do virtually, right? Like most people probably start offering Zoom training, Zoom workouts. Mm-hmm. And so then they're like, well, hey, I'm used to people coming into my gym and sitting down and doing these one-on-one sales. So it's like sales has come to a screeching halt. I know there's people out there, you know, like if you were in a state that they kind of reopen quickly, like you want to get back to selling, but if people are not, how are you going to, make a sale? So I've always been like a person to kind of push against the norm and try and test new things. I'm not afraid to fail. And so I kind of was like, it was one of those things where you hear about a lot of businesses like are getting prepared for the next downturn so that they can help people in a specific area. Well, that was 100% me. I had hired my first remote salesperson in 2017. And I just had that same problem a lot of gym owners have, which is the whole lead nurture being owned really well. It's always been a Frankenstein part of the client experience. Like, hey, coach, hey, you came to me, you said you needed more hours. How about after you're done coaching, you do some lead nurture? Or, hey, admin, everybody's got to have an admin at front desk. Like, can you do some, whenever you're not doing anything with the clients? And so no one owns it. It's just this hot potato. You keep throwing it around and like, whose job is it to own it? And so a lot of owners don't think of that as a position in itself. They try to kind of mash it up. And, the owner, when they're doing it, they're going to be fire at it because it's their company, it's their business, their back's against the wall. But finding that person. And so this kind of like evolved over time. The first time that I was being challenged on it was super frustrated, multiple gyms. Again, I know, Scott, you and I have a similar story. I went too aggressive. I opened 6 gyms in 6 years, and I was not ready for that.
I had the first one that was barely making any money. And in like 8 months, 7-8 months, something like that, I had a second one. And then I had 4, or was it 5 within literally like 3 years or something like that. So stupid.
Yeah. Because, when you get the formula down, you think you can repeat it. But what you're not thinking, at least I didn't, was corporate level, like leadership, like who will oversee all of these? Because I can't. Eventually my, radiance gets thinned down and like it's not hitting people as I'm not being in contact with them as much. And now my influence, my impact is far less. It's filtered down. So again, dummy, didn't know what I didn't know, just went after it, opened a ton of gyms. And so that's kind of the failing point, is like a higher level leadership. I just thought of like local level, like, hey, if there's just a manager there, all is good, but they need leadership too. And so that's my mistake. And so when you get to that level, there are things that get exposed in your business. So it's like, I was really good, kind of like with you. I had one, it was doing in the 40,000s a month. And then I go to two, and now I got two doing 30, and then I got three doing 20. And it's like, why did I do this to myself? I'm bringing in the same money with more people, more headaches, more locations. And I was,
more
making
risk
more
exposure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, again, I got to get hit in between the eyes sometimes to learn a lesson. And so one of the things when it came to scaling was admin. Like when me or my wife did it, man, we would follow up, we'd lead nurture like a beast. And so I actually had a business coach. And one of the things I would encourage people to do is, hey, like you always got to have a mentor, and realize that I don't think any one mentor will solve all the problems in your company. You're probably going to get 1 to 3, maybe 5 things from them, and then be happy about that. But a lot of times we can say, yeah, but they didn't help me with this and they didn't help me with that. I've never hired a mentor that's helped me in every problem. Like, know what you're going shopping for. Like, I'm shopping for someone to help me in here. And so I hired one that was all operations, because I know that's my weakness. I could sell like a beast. I could market like a beast. I could coach like a beast. But man, like just all the back office stuff drains me, and I don't love that. And so he challenged me, and he said, Dustin, I hear you're upset. You've hired an admin. They're not doing lead nurture the way you want it. But why are you asking an admin to do that in the first place? That is not who they are. That's not their personality type. And I said, all my gym owner buddies, like, we just have an admin, front desk, receptionist. And he's like, if you put that job offer out, it's like bait you're putting to catch a fish. That is somebody who is organized minded. They like color coding, spreadsheets. Maybe they pick up a phone to forward it to someone else. They're introverted. They're not going to be that extrovert that's going to go out and make sales. And so he's like, I bet if you just change the bait, you'll catch the right fish. Put up a job posting for sales associate, sales rep, sales agent, sales manager, anything like that, and then see what happens. And man, that was a game changer right there. It's just like crazy how a job title can completely change the success in a role. And so that was the first iteration. Is like, okay, no more admin. Now a person in our company owns follow-up, and they're a tried and true sales rep. And so boom, came in, started working in the gym. Next big issue, the gym environment. It's loud, it's distracting. People are stopping at the desk. Someone's yelling on a microphone. There's music blaring. So they're trying to make calls, but now they're going outside, right? And they got to step outside, and we didn't have like a soundproofed office or nothing. And so they're like frustrated. And then, again, when things are hard to do, you'll just procrastinate on it. So I started to see like, okay, they're just working text and messenger, but they're not making the calls. And I'm like, the calls are where you make the meaningful conversations and you connect with people, right? And so I was like, man, why are you not making your calls? And so again, trying to be coachable and open-minded, I'm hearing them say, it's the environment, it's loud, the music. And I was like, okay, again, I'm entrepreneur solution. I'm going to find a solution for it. Then I went to the next iteration, which is, hey, more and more people are working from home. They have online jobs. Let me see if I could find a remote salesperson. And that kind of opens up the pool, because now I don't have to find someone that lives here within the 3 to 5 mile radius. I could find someone in Tennessee or in Michigan or anywhere around the world, because it's a remote job and they can make calls and boom, make sales for us. So I started dipping into that and finding remote salespeople that like could work from home. And now that brings joy to their life. They get a good job that they can do from home, and they're solving a problem in our company. And I was like, okay, no distractions. They're now focused. They should have a nice office setup with like a good working computer, fast internet. And boom, that was the iteration that we needed to find. So like that was around, again, 2017. So I was, again, probably ahead of a lot of.
Yeah, definitely ahead of the curve on that.
Yeah. And so I would tell my gym owner, but like, you got to do this. This is awesome. It's been a game changer. And people kind of shrug. And I think especially if you have a coaching background, you like manual, like you like to touch like agreements. Sometimes they're slow to adapt to digital agreements, or like, I want an accountability form that I'm going to fill out. Well, I find a lot of gym owners like that old school. Like, I want to see the person in my gym. I want to look over their shoulder, make sure they're working on something. They're not screwing around on YouTube. And like, I want my employees here. I'm a little more willing to trust and to test having remote staff. And so I went that route. And so that was the pushback before 2020. Like, I don't,
Right.
cool for you, Dustin. Not for me. I like seeing them there in the gym. I'm uncomfortable with that. And so I was like, guys, it's possible. Like, how's Facebook doing it? All their staff all around the world, and like Google, and like there's a way to do it. This is a mental block that you have that you got to work through. I'm quick to like, jump into it. So then we come to 2020, and that's when my phone started ringing off the hook. Hey, you've been telling me about this remote salesperson. I have no choice. I must adapt. How are you doing it? How are you finding them? How do you train them? How do you hold them accountable? I've never had a remote staff. They've always been in the gym. And so, again, there was some belief breaking. I was like, sure you have. I tried to handhold him. What about your digital marketer? Did he come to your gym? You trusted him. So I was just like, there's you just got to kind of ease up a little, kind of open up your mind. And so I would tell people, but then there'd be the next thing that probably any business coach, it drives them crazy, is like coaching, but no action. Like, step by step, do these 5 things, you will have what I have, and not doing it. So then again, my solution brain goes to, I'll just do it for you. I'll create a done for you service. You don't have to worry about it. And you'll see the results that you deserve by working with us, and we'll take everything off your plate.
And that's what became of gym reinforcements, right?
Yep. So that's like the whole origin story behind it. And what we do is we train our people on CRMs. So if you're in Zen Planner, Club Ready, Fit Pro Tracker, MindBody, we have tutorials on all of them in-house, our version of it, because sometimes the corporate one is not what we need to teach them, like basically how to send texts, how to make sales, how to organize your leads. So we have that. Then we're doing sales training. We have a full like sales academy teaching them how to sell fitness, because it is a very specific sell, overcoming objections, all that stuff. So like, you can literally call me and just say, I need a salesperson tomorrow. They're ready, they're trained, and boom, they're right into your gym. So yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Because lead nurture is tricky. And particularly when you're doing paid leads as well, it becomes way more important because that average lead is way colder on average.
Absolutely.
And their interest level just drops like you wouldn't believe minutes after they put that thing in. And the challenge of really doing lead nurture well for a lot of gym owners, even if it's the owners, is well, they may be doing other things and they can't get to them right away.
Yes.
And that's yep. Absolutely
huge.
It's huge. And sometimes logistically, it's just not possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Because let's face it, if the owner is still coaching sessions or they're in sales appointments, they will not follow up when it's convenient for the lead. They'll follow when it's convenient for them. Yeah. So it's like, I can call you around 5 o'clock tonight. Well, I'm the lead and I'm taking my kids to soccer practice, so that won't work for me. So if we're in customer service, we got to do it when it's right for them, not when it's right for us. Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely tough to kind of like, bring up what you're brought up earlier is about the lead becoming a buyer. Like, first thing I always like to like share with a new owner, especially because again, we're not perfect. I don't think any business is. There's times we get an account and the first 2 days there's no sale, and that doesn't make people happy. Obviously, that's our goal, is to get like fast sales, fast wins. We have a whole checklist how to get to a fast win, because we know that really makes the owner feel good that like, hey, I made the right decision to come on board. But I think, again, I'm going to be honest, there's accounts that we haven't been able to do that. Mm-hmm. And so I just say, hey, let me ask you a couple questions. Number one, trust equals transactions. So my belief is that these people aren't, getting back to us because they simply don't trust us, and we got to build some more trust. So what we then coach the owner to do, and I mean, we do this with all accounts, but we just kind of hold their feet to the fire to get it done at this point, is what we call a trust building campaign. And it's a really short 5 to 7 message campaign, but just sharing stories with these people, these leads that you have, because people don't buy from companies, they buy from people. Do they know you, the owner? When's the last time you went live on social media and told the community why you opened the gym or who you are, your story? So that's literally what the trust building campaign is like, email number 1, I'm the owner. Here's why I opened this gym. Email number 2, here's one of our top trainers. Here's why they're a trainer, why they're choosing to train at my gym, why we believe in our mission. Email number 3 and 4, hey, these are my clients. Here's their story. This is this person with 3 kids. None of it is really even fitness and nutrition facts, which we're really like overwhelming the internet with as trainers and coaches. It's stories. I'm like, hey, you're putting on your director hat. You're Hollywood. Each one is a movie. I want the movie of the owner.
Preach. It's story selling. Story is what motivates all human beings since our existence.
Yes.
It's how we teach things. It's every single religion or fairy tale or this or that. It's stories. Stories are how humans communicate.
Yes.
Every single culture has told them from the earliest days, and it's what influences people to make decisions, to change, to inspire, to build trust, whatever it is. It's all about stories.
Yeah.
And too often we just get right into, oh, no, everybody says to eat this. You should be eating this.
Yeah.
They're not there yet.
And I'm gonna admit, I did that for years. Like I just gave out, and I became known as that. So then it gave me feedback to keep doing it.
Yeah.
They're like, thanks for that breakfast idea. I made it for my kids. They loved it. And oh, I didn't know this had this ingredient. I'm gonna stop buying that. And like, I just saw myself as a teacher, and I was just educating labels. And this has got a lot of protein. And then I would eventually come to a realization down the road that like, hey, like I'm sharing a lot of good information, but people come in, we don't really feel connected. They're like, they're there to extract some information. They don't know who I am. I don't know who they are. And so like, it's really easy to kind of leave because there's no connection built. And so when I had that aha, it did take time. I really had to like hear it over and over. So if everyone's hearing it today, yes, like let this be the next rep that you hear it and like, continue to influence you to move to stories. All right. One way that it finally like resonated with me, I don't remember where I heard it, but they said, hey, if your content doesn't have a soul, if it doesn't make you feel anything, it will not make the reader or the consumer feel anything. And they say all the content that sticks, that you stop, there is an emotion you are looking to get from it. Even if it's entertainment, you're looking to laugh. Or when it's got like that suspenseful music, you're looking to be inspired. It's like why we love those Rocky montage scenes. They have like awesome music. And then you want to go to the gym. It made you feel something and then led to an action, right? So it's like inspired. Maybe it's angry. Look at what these guys are doing. They're hurting people. They're damaging metabolisms, whatever. The whole internet's filled with like anger, but there's some sort of soul out of the content. And so that's what finally woke me out of that trance is like all my content had no soul. It was all just information, which could be found on the internet. And that's great. And there should be a little bit of that maybe, but it's not typically going to move people to be connected to your brand and you as the owner and why they should work with you. So then I start switching my content like, hey, I used to be overweight. And so immediately, guess what overweight people are going to do? They're going to connect with me. I used to be 260 pounds. I was ashamed of myself. I would look in the mirror, not like what I saw. I would say negative things to myself. I would not talk to girls and then everyone's like, oh my God, I didn't know that story about you. Like, oh my God, like you went through the same thing as me. How did you do this? How did you do that? And now the tips came from like, hey, we're the same person. Now tell me how you got here. Rather than like, hey, you're this trainer, you're Mr. Perfect. You wake up motivated, you sprint to the gym, you eat broccoli all day long. And they've kind of put me as this like robotic Terminator that's, like never makes a mistake. And now I became more real when I put that soul in my content. So again, that's what the point of a trust building campaign is to get your leads to trust you and to connect with you. So then they will buy from you. It's not because there's a discount or you're doing a crazy sale or because you've stumbled upon the best fat burning program. It's because they want to buy from you because they believe in you. They want to support you and they trust you. And that's what that whole campaign is meant to do. So, yeah.
Important. Those things are important. I mean, that's when we got introduced, right? We hopped on a call. I kind of told you how, my history and how PT Legends started accidentally. And it's funny. You had the same kind of story. You had multiple locations. You experienced this pain. You created the solution. And then you figured out, holy cow, all these other people want the solution. And there you go. There's your secondary business that started on that, which is amazing. And so we connected and it builds trust between us. Plus, guys, if you're just listening to this, Dustin has a great look. So as he's lost the hair up on the top of his head, it's migrated down to his face, just like me. It's a very handsome and svelte
brothers from another mother. I love it. And one more thing I'm just going to share on that. Yeah. So that was, examples like you're going to meet other business people. Like, guess what? Walk into another local business and connect with them. Man, isn't being a business owner hard right now? Brick and mortar, like connect with them, not go in and, hey, I had this offer for you. And it's like, connect with people. And I think especially me as like a guy, like that was the hardest thing. It's like, I'm very type A too. Like, let's get to business. Here's my offer. What do you say? And so I've really had to like evolve and change that and really check
Mhm.
myself on that because it's just made a massive impact in my business. So that's why I get really hyped up. But back to like the leads, what the reason people don't, buy from you quick is because they don't trust you. The people who are the quickest to buy are the ones that have already heard about you, a friend's training there, they've seen your post, maybe they've been following your content, but that's why they're a laydown. A lot of times we get like, oh, they must have heard, like we're the best, we're awesome. Man, did you see I sold that person? You didn't sell that person. They were ready to go. Their friends training with you. They've driven by your gym a million times. They were a laydown. You didn't have to sell. They just said, take my money. Then there's a hard nose, right? Like I'm moving next month. I simply can't afford it. My doctor said you got to take 3 months off your knee injury. There's just no way you're literally going to sell that person. But the final third category are the ones where salesmanship comes in and trust is important. And so those third of people are like on the fence, and what you say and how you build trust will knock them to the hard no or the hard yes kind of category. And what we found is that people often assume that their leads should be buying immediately. Like, hey, they opted in, they expected this interest. I'm like, they just took a step. There might be 20 steps they need to take to finally feel comfortable. That was just one step, is like opting in. And I challenge gym owners with this. I'm like, tell me the last time you followed somebody on social media and that very same day you bought something from them, or you opted in and that same day you also bought from them. What did you really do? You consume their content for 30,
Mhm.
60 days. You read their emails, you saw their posts, and eventually they wore you down, right? That's influence. It's like a repetition, coming at different angles, influencing. And
And
so,
trust is getting to know who they are.
yep, yep.
Right. And yeah, I can't tell you how many people that start with PT Legends and they've listened to 10, 20 episodes of the podcast because they get a sense of who I am, who Dave is, who Will is, what our character is. They hear some stories about how we've overcome the obstacles in our gyms and helped others do the same thing. Right. It takes a while to get trust and belief
Yep.
in the market.
And so that's like, they'll be angry. They're like opting in, but no one's buying. And it's just
Mhm.
like, that's why I push back. When's the last time you opted in and bought the same day? What we need to do is we need to build trust. The faster we build it, the faster they'll buy. So if your trust building campaign, if you really refine it, let's say in 7 or 10 days, they become a buyer. Well, that's phenomenal. That's great. Could you get it to where it's 3 days, where you build enough trust with them in 3 days? Like, that's the game. Is like, I want to like hack speeding up trust.
Mhm.
And so that's what gym owners should be working on. And so I say, hey, kind of ex-nay yourself creating content anymore about information. Everything must be a story, and it must be a struggle, and there must be some sort of soul behind it, an emotion you're trying to elicit. And sometimes it could just be, hey, I'm the humorous guy, I like making people laugh. Cool, you're getting an emotion out of them. Or I want to inspire them with motivation. That's great. Or I want to make them angry that a client came in and I found out she was doing HCG and on 500 calories, and that pissed me off, and that's why I opened a gym. But there's some sort of emotion or soul. Information doesn't really cause an emotional response. So like, that's the big overhaul all of us can do with our content, is just put some more soul, emotions into it, and you will create that gap of trust quicker, because that's what speeds it up, is emotions. But just getting 3 or 4 pieces of information. Heck, even me doing more B2B, I had to change that everything was like, here's a text that worked for me, here's a campaign
Mhm.
that worked for me, here you go, guys. And like, I wasn't really connecting with anybody. And then I said, hey, this is what I'm struggling with in my business. Man, I had a tough talk with a team member. I thought this would work and it wouldn't. And so I'm just sharing how I'm eating crap. And then people are like, oh man, you're real. You don't have it all figured out. And I'm
I've
like, I'm not.
We haven't known each other for that long, but I've seen your stuff and I've seen that. And I like that. I connect with that. And I've shared, I think I can't tell you, I got a lot of messages when I had just shared when 2 of my locations shit the bed, right? Because I grew too quickly, right? And didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I was in a position where 2 of them were just like bleeding out like crazy and nearly lost them, right? And just me sharing that, I got multiple messages, because sometimes people are struggling out there and they just need to hear other people are struggling. When I was in that phase in my business, I was lucky enough to stumble upon a couple of podcasts that I've been listening to for a long time. They crush it, but they shared that episode at their low points, and it made me feel just so much better that like I'm not a failure. I can get out of this. It's
and
really important to be real, I think.
And that's the response that I think people hope for, but mentally you don't think you'll get it. You'll think people will think lower of you. Man, you
Right.
suck. Wait, you're struggling. Oh my God, you're terrible. They won't. In fact, they'll say, oh my God, me too. And that's what
Yeah.
you want, right? And so I think that's the fear, is like what you think will happen and what actually happens. And so again, encouragement to everybody listening. Again, I'm a guy, I struggle with it. Be more vulnerable, share what you're struggling with, talk about how you don't feel like working out today, talk about how you just want to eat candy and pizza and you don't want to eat healthy, talk about how, you know, you went through a bad patch in something. But like, that's the stuff people will say, when I need a coach, I'm going to go to them. There are people watching and reading, and again, consistency, we know that that's important. If you're consistently putting out content, they're watching, they're lurking, they're reading. Most of social media, I found that's what it is. It's lurkers. Like very few of your percentage of actual followers like and comment and engage. People just see it and they just keep going, right? And so I had one example where I'm pretty regular in my email blast, and one lady for some reason finally bought, and she told me, I've been on your email list for 2 years and I have not bought anything, but what you said today really resonated with me, and now I want to join this trial program. And so like, let that be a testament that, you know, hey guys, hopefully we're all thinking long-term. We're thinking a decade. We're not asking ourselves, how am I going to get a sale tomorrow, next month? Thinking decades. And that's what you want that content, that trust building to be. Like, we're not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm in it for the long haul. So I want to share with you how we can connect, right?
That was one of your posts that I just saw the other day. And guys, what Dustin's talking about is something that has taken me a long time to learn too. And I am still actively getting better at, because I am like Dustin, tend to be type A. I'm about business. I'm a very objective focus. Like, all right, what do we do? Boom, 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 boom. And slowing down, playing a longer game, right? And taking time to connect with people and telling stories instead of just like, oh, you got to do this because this freaking slays. It kills it. Like, just do this. You've got to take a little bit different approach. And I'm still not that great. I have to catch myself a lot.
Same.
To catch myself a lot. And when I was at the ClickFunnels or the Funnel Hacking Live event in Orlando, and there's 4 days with these just amazing speakers, one after another, after another, after another, after another, like Ed Milet and this. They all have different styles, but they all do this. And they all do it masterfully. And that's why you leave so freaking pumped and jacked up and wanting to take action, is because not because they just gave you these killer tactics, right? Verbatim that you can go and do. It's because they told you some strategies through stories that got you to believe it and inspire you to take action.
Exactly.
And then I after that, I'm like, oh man, I don't do that enough. So I'm working on it just like you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, like you said, every speaker, look at the formula. What is the opening thing? Their story. And that's how they compress trust quicker. I need to get a room of 4,000 people to trust me. How should I do it? Tell my story and be vulnerable. Not slide deck number one, right into tips. Hey guys, here's how to make $1 million next month. No one's going to take action because they don't trust me. They got to first trust me. Then I can kind of drop the seeds of knowledge and help them, learn how to implement them. And then the other thing, you brought up is like, when I see myself in someone else's story, we all do it when we watch a movie. You're like, oh, if they kidnap my daughter, that guy's done. Bullet to the head. I wouldn't have even taken that long, and like, the movie's not about us, but we selfishly put ourselves in everything, right? I teach this to the coaches. Hey guys, if I took a picture of the room and then I put it up on the slide deck, where would your eyes go first? Yourself. How do I look? Do I look fat? Do I look jacked? Is the shirt filling up? Like, what was the smirk on my face? And then I'll look at everybody else, right? So it's normal to be worried about selfishness, to say like, uh-oh, am I talking about me too much? What will they think of me? Like, let's skip my story. Who am I? Let's just get straight to the content. But that's what makes people get connected. And again, another example is, how many movie stars or artists do we love, but you've never even met them in person and shook their hand? You don't even know who these people are.
All of them, yeah.
How do you form your opinion? Off of the content and the media they put out to the world, right? But you trust them. If you saw Denzel Washington, you probably, hey, what's up, man? You're the man.
And the people say he's such a good guy. It's
yeah.
Like, really? Do you really know? Right? It's exactly what you're talking about.
So your content, people will form an opinion on you. They'll build trust with you. And then it can also repel the people that are your non-audience. You're like, okay, good. I'm glad you're repelled. I don't serve you,
And
like
that's okay, guys. And that's what you have to understand is that you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and you don't need to be. Yes. I mean, unless you're willing to kind of push some people away, right? And it's not that you're actively pushing them away, but some of it might not resonate, right? And if you're being truthful and honest, it might not resonate with people and they get pushed away. Don't be afraid of that, because there's only one way you're going to pull people in towards you. You need to have a little bit of that polarity to attract people. Otherwise, you're just in this middle zone, right? Where you're not bringing anybody to you, and you don't need everybody. You don't need everybody. You need a set finite amount of people to make your business very successful. Hopefully you have high prices, so it's not that many.
Yes.
But you don't need everybody.
Yep. Yeah. I love it. Well, I would be remiss to not scratch my itch, and that is to now deliver actual strategy and value to the gym.
Oh, let's do it.
How to get some more leads.
Let's do it.
So as much as I just threw that under the bus, I'm like, but now I want to do it with you guys. And again, these are all evolving. These are what we found now in today's world, 2022, are the best performing follow-up systems. And I got 3 that I do want to share with the audience that will help them to get more sales. The trust building is like the umbrella. Like none of these will work unless trust exists. But once trust is established, run these systems and you guys will get more of your leads to convert into sales. And so, Scott, I'm also very open and coachable. So if there's any of these that are against what you teach in PT Legends, or you have a way you think they could be better, please stop me, challenge me, tell me how they can be better, because I'm very open. Because like I said, these are just what we're testing. We do work with, over 100 almost gym owners across the country now. And so it's one of those things that we are testing it ourselves in multiple locations. I'm testing it at mine, but they're always up for, improvements and upgrades.
Very cool.
So the first one is leads. So the way we kind of classify a lead and a prospect is a lead is somebody who is hot and they've opted in very recently. We say day 0 to 21. We call them a lead. After day 22, we call them more of a prospect. They're a little bit kind of interested, but they're not like a hot lead, like call them now. So if you guys got brand new leads, first things first, put them into that trust building campaign. I know we want them to buy today, but let's just face it, they're not, right? You're not going to have people that are going to buy immediately. Does that mean you should not kind of just leave them alone? No, they're getting something. They're getting a contact from us, but they should also be getting stories from you in that trust building campaign. So what we do is we do a system we call the 5x2 follow-up. All right. And so what that stands for is 5 days, 2 a day. So call and text, call and text, call and text. That is from the salesperson calling to find out, are you in that category of the laydowns? You're ready to go. You're ready to sign up. You're a quick sale, right? Then there's going to be people who aren't. In the background, they're getting your trust building campaign where it's stories. And maybe they're not answering the calls and the texts because they don't know who you are. So that trust building campaign is doing its job and it's building that trust, right? So that's the first system. Again, we kind of give everything a little title so it's easy to remember, but we call that 5x2, easy to remember, 1 and 2 every day of the week in that first 5 days. So that's for your brand new leads. We were talking about earlier, speed to lead, get them on a call as quickly as possible. I know we're very much in a texting and a DM world, but typically our customers who are middle-aged and older adults, they have concerns and they have questions, and it's better to get them all knocked out on a phone call back to back rather than texting back and forth, and it might take 3 days, right? So you're compressing the conversation by having it on a phone call. So I'm a little old school like that. I like getting on phones with people.
We love that. So we do a discovery call, usually 7 minutes, no more than 10.
Yep.
And ours might be a little bit different than yours. Right, of course, but yeah, that phone call, it really sets things up. Yeah, it really sets things up.
And they hear the trust or the comfort and the connection, and that hey, we're here to take care of you. We're not here to beat you down. We're here to build you up. And then boom, that kind of creates this warm introduction to the business. And so again, that in itself, guys, like just owning leads coming in and doing a 2 a day and managing where they are in that timeline. Are they on day 3? On their day 1? We don't do a lot of automations either, and automations are great, but it feels really impersonable when you responded to text 1 and then another text comes in, it doesn't even reference what you replied, right? So that's why I'm a fan of maybe after 1 initial auto text, everything is manual from there, because we want personalized responses.
I agree with you on that one. Over automation, while it's convenient, right? It does have its limitations.
Yeah.
And it can be a detriment sometimes. And quite often our flows are cut off. We'll have some automated stuff, but as soon as they respond, it triggers it, and they are
Love it.
it stops the automated stuff. Because yeah, you're exactly right. They'll send something, then they'll get another text that's totally different, and you're like, okay, this is a machine.
Yeah.
This is a bot, you know.
And that's how you can tell. So we really train our team personalized responses. Nothing should be scripted. You should never find something in one of our manuals or from another team member. You copy, press send. There should be something you've added. Like, I know you said you have a back injury. That's why I think this program could be a good fit. You said you want to lose 20 pounds. Well, you came to the right place. We specialize in helping people with fat loss. Like, that's how we want the responses to be.
Yeah.
And then they'll feel like a friend's messaging me, somebody that's an actual human. We've all been irritated by too much computers and bots and auto chats. It's nice to know someone's writing you back and forth, right? So the second one I want to share with you guys is a referral one. Okay. And so there's two referral programs that we teach. And so the first is called the trial duplication system. And so what this is not enough people do it. Every time you sell somebody a trial program, a challenge, anything, always ask for a referral at that juncture, because most people want to start a fitness journey with a friend if an invitation is extended. So if you have some sort of cool way to, give that to them, maybe their friend can join for half off. Maybe you'll even give it one workout for free with a friend. But we do it after the transaction has been completed. It's backfired if you ask before. You're like, hey, before you start this 28-day challenge, do you got a buddy that wants to join with you? You're actually, let me call you back. I'm gonna go call my friend. And then you just lost the sale. So instead, bam, credit card's been ran. It went through Ms. Jones. Awesome. By the way, do you got anybody else who you'd like to have come with you into this program and join this challenge? 3 out of 10 we found will easily give you a referral. No, even hard pressing on it. Another 2 out of those 10 will give it to you after their first workout. Like, they want to vet you and make sure you're good. So if you ask a second time after their first workout, you can clean up some more. I almost feel like 100% of the gym owners I talk to, nobody's doing this. This is so simple. It costs nothing. No ad spend, no marketing. It's just having the cojones to ask for it, right? And that's something that, again, too many people are missing out on. So I had to share that.
Agreed. We built it into our process too. Like, you wanted it at right up front, like you were talking about, right after the sign, and we're on board. But then, we even build it into like week 6 once they've seen amazing results.
Yes.
It's just built into the process, because you have to. Gym owners are really guilty. We all know we need to do it, but we just don't.
Well, I think it's one thing is it's mindset of like, I just asked them for something and I got it. So I don't want to over ask. I don't want to bother them. Agreed. But you're like, you're helping this person have more stick rate, more accountability by getting a buddy. And if your mission is truly to help as many people, why would you not try to get more people into your gym, right? That's what any gym owner is going to say. So again, that's an easy one. Implement that if you guys aren't doing it already. That's a gimme. Another one is going to be more in your member base. And so we call it the referral king or queen red carpet system. Okay. And so think of a king or queen. They're walking in on a red carpet to their throne. We all have this. If you have this label now, if I asked you, who's your member king or queen that just referrals you like crazy, right? And so there's probably 1 or 2 in each gym. And so these are people, you want to treat them like royalty. You want to give them a little extra gifts that maybe all your members don't, because they just keep bringing so many dang people. Maybe it's another another business owner that, talks to a lot of people. Mine, funny enough, tend to be hairstylists, because they got ladies in their chair all day and they're talking us up. And if they got fit and they're feeling good about themselves, they got to just talk about it. I mean, I'll send these gals edible arrangements. I'll give them gift cards, Fleming Steakhouse, like all the works, because I want to just encourage them to keep doing that. And it's a little bonus that, you're not giving anybody else, because they're just nonstop bringing you people. The second one would be teachers. Crazy as it sounds, teachers, man, they're like birds of a flock to get, like, they just go together. And so you get one teacher in, and then they're going to tell all the other teachers. So if you got one that you're like, this is our number one referral person, now consider them that referral king or queen. And once a quarter, send them some sort of extra gift and mention why, like, hey, this is a gift because we appreciate that you're always shouting us out and telling people about us. And this is our way of saying thank you. You're going to keep getting more from that person. So that's another simple system that we can do to get more leads in our gyms.
Love it. Love it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's just, those are the main ones, like there's the trust building campaign, just, always running in the background. Heck, even if you have like a huge database and you haven't had them go through anything like that, put them through that. And I bet you're going to get some bites. It's not till the end that we start making a sale and asking. Then you got your 5x2 for your leads. And then you got your trial duplication system and red carpet referral king or queen system. So again, guys, those are the tips and strategies I wanted to come locked and loaded to share with you. Cause like if you do these now, boom, more sales tomorrow, like instantaneous results. Yeah.
It's such low hanging fruit. And we're always looking for like the latest tips and tricks and like little hacks on how to get TikTok followers and this and that and the other. Yeah. Like we're just chasing these little things. But are we really doing the 20% of things that are going to yield us the 80, 90% of the results? Are we really doing those to the fullest extent? Quite often the answer is no.
Yeah. That's the
Quite often the answer is no. And I mean, in my gyms, we just don't bother with so many of these little things, because I'll be in other groups and they're just splitting hairs over these little things. Right. And I'm like, how are you even asking this question? That's not even worth my time to even think about. Like that is, because you've got to get really good at just a few things and then your business can blow up.
It's funny when you say that, something that comes to mind is like gear, like t-shirts, like how many members do you got? How many t-shirts you really going to sell? And then what is your margin on that? So all this work, design it, talk to the printer, get it there. Now I got to, sell it to all my members. I sold 20 shirts. I made $10 a shirt. I made $200. Like
then they'll be on the groups and be like, oh, does anybody have a better, a cheaper provider for t-shirts? And then you spend like 3 hours looking for a better, print design t-shirt place or whatever.
Yeah.
To save like $1 a shirt, and then you're polling your customers to see what they like. And then this and then that. We'll have the fall collection or you make like $40. But
or sell one of your transformation programs and make thousands in one conversation.
Make $4,000 off of one conversation with somebody who's already an existing client of yours.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You focus on the right things. You can bring in $30,000 from your own members in a month. It's because there's so many people that need more than workouts, and you just learn how to have those conversations, how to sell it, and make that pitch. Like with your story, a lot of what you said, you're not just selling a program. I mean, you're selling the solution to what they need, that bleeding neck issue, but the way that you really get their belief in this program and the fact that it's going to solve this problem once and for all for them is with your pitch. Your story is in your pitch. The reason why you do this is in your pitch. The reason why you want them to do this, because it's exactly what they need. That sells it.
Yeah. Love it, man.
That trust.
Good words of advice. One thing that I kind of like talk myself into not getting distracted is we all probably remember that meme of The Rock where he's just screaming focus at himself. Like focus. Mm-hmm. I literally will do that. If I catch that I am getting squirrely and I'm looking at some supplements or like t-shirts or something that's like not going to bring in a lot of money, I'll literally say out loud, Dustin, focus. That's distracted. Don't think of, don't look at that. I'll literally talk to myself, as crazy as that sounds. But it's one of those things that it is a trainable muscle over time. If you feel guilty, if you feel like we just called you out and you're like, oh my God, I do that, like terrible idea. And so that's just something that you can build over time. Don't feel bad and don't think it's going to change tomorrow. Right. But it's one of those things that you got to constantly be asking yourself, what is the ROI on this activity that I'm working on? And so it's like, if it's not something that you feel is your hourly value or even 10x, because your goal is to eventually build your hourly value up. So you got to be doing more and more, higher ROI things over time. Figure out a way to not do it or combine it with someone else's role and delegate it, or, just like not even move forward with it. But it's one of those things that we have to constantly be auditing our time and ourselves. And it's not something that ever goes away. You got to keep working at it and it will get better through repetition. But the other thing I would say is make sure you have some outside eyes, have a mentor, because we sometimes are really bad at calling ourselves out on things. We can justify, no, this client's been bugging me for a while for shirts. I got to get him shirts. I promised him shirts. So maybe you need Scott to like get on your butt and say, if I hear about these shirts one more time, I'm gonna explode. Like, do not do that. It is a waste of your time. And so we're just really bad at saying no to people. We're people pleasers, typically in the fitness industry. And so now you'll have a choice. You're like, do I let the client down who wanted the shirt, or do I let Scott down, who is my business coach and who I've hired to like, help me grow this thing? And you're going to pick the bigger one, right? And so they're going to go that route. So again, have outside eyes, always audit your time, check that you're doing high ROI activities. And it is something that will get better and better over time if you keep checking yourself.
Absolutely. And that outside perspective helps so much. Because it might be something that's interesting or this. It's just so easy. We all do it. I have to battle that, right?
Yeah.
And having somebody that helps you then, like, no, don't even think about that right now. That is the last thing you should be spending any time or even mental energy on. And then you're like, oh yeah, you're right, Because if I just did this and this, that would be right. So you're absolutely right, and it's hard. It's a battle, but you get better at it over time, like you said. And having a coach can really help you. We always are working with a coach, always hiring somebody.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
And that's why we had that hockey stick-like growth with everything. All your wins and all your gains and all your knowledge and all this, it compounds. And so it takes a while to compound before compound interest really starts taking off. But when it takes off, you're shooting through the roof.
And this is a good way for, gym owners to think about it. You're always one hire away from a completely different business, a completely upgraded business. Think about like if you ran it alone, you're like, if only I could have somebody run the morning sessions, I can work on marketing and sales. And then you hire them and you get it back. If you did the right thing and you truly went and did marketing and sales, you didn't jerk around your time, then you have to still go and do evening sessions. Like, man, if I could just get someone to do that, I could have the whole day and I could dominate. And then there's the next thing, like I got to get admin, I got to get HR, I got to get, maybe eventually you do get marketing or sales off your plate, and you're always hiring out you are now evolving to the next thing. Sometimes that hire is in your gym, but oftentimes the next big thing will come from hiring a mentor or a coach. And
Absolutely.
So it's not always, a service or a person to work in your gym. Sometimes it's a mentor. And so always one hire away. It's kind of some, like I'm afraid to say to myself.
And sometimes hiring an outside provider to do that, like gym reinforcements, like whatever else, in whatever different roles, sometimes that's the best way to do it, because they already have found the people. They've already trained the people, and they manage the people. So it can give you some ultimate leverage. It is very tempting to be like, oh, I need to hire some that. Like, how often have you tried to like hire somebody locally or whatever to do your social media or something? It just doesn't work out quite often, because the chances of you running into somebody who's already kind of really knows how to do that and optimally, it's just, they know how to use Instagram and TikTok because that's what they do, but it doesn't mean they know how to use it that's effective for your business.
Yes. Especially if you're not strong in sales. So like if they're working with you or they're trying to develop their sales skills, how good of a salesperson do you think you can develop if you're not good at it, right? You're probably not going to teach somebody how to overcome rejection. So it's like, I better hire this out while I work on myself. And just like any great coach, eventually we want to see you be on your own. We don't want you to have to depend on us forever. But if that's not now, you should hire an expert to come in and do it while you develop yourself. And then you can be so badass at it that you now can reproduce yourself. That was, again, the only reason that I'm very confident in our skills at gym reinforcements, because I was the sales machine. I had a high closing percentage. I knew what to say. I know what to text. So it's very easy for me to duplicate myself into other people and create an army of salespeople that'll dominate for the fitness industry. I meet a lot of gym owners that they're not. I'm a great coach. I know a lot about nutrition. I'm great at fixing form. So great. You probably produce great coaches, and then you should really spend some time developing coaches to take that off your plate, so you can go then work on sales skill, because that's the hindrance that you don't have that you need to work on, or hire somebody else that can do it for you. So
absolutely. And that's the stage we're in. We just like, who's the best in the world at this? Let's hire them. Who's the best in the world at that? Let's hire them. And that's how you level up. And Dustin, I look forward to learning a lot more about gym reinforcements. I know we'll have you inside of our group or one of our quarterly war rooms to teach a lot of stuff. Your services are really what a lot of our people need, because they come in and they're just exploding their businesses, because they're selling programs now $2,000 to $8,000. And at the same time, if they got a group model, typically they're doubling their prices.
Nice.
And they are just exploding in cash flow, and they are scaling up and scaling out of their roles. And even, Shannon Logo, kudos to her. Like, she's just like, I don't want to do lead literature anymore. She can do that. So she's actually found and trained, developed, and hired somebody. Well, and she's not the only one who would like to do that, but it is time consuming to find and hire and train and develop and manage. And so your services are a really good match for a lot of our legends as they're scaling up, they're scaling out, and they're just like, pay to get rid of that, pay to get rid of that. Let's go, So I'm really excited to continue learning more and more about it. And because I know this is a great match for our audience for sure.
I'm there, man, whenever you need me. And I'm a big believer in, like, I'll happily teach everything we do to everybody. But if that sounds like a lot of work and they don't want to do it, bring us in and we'll solve it for you immediately while you work on it on the back end. But yeah, I love that that's your mindset, is to help them make as much money as possible, because money does help you solve your problems in your business quicker. When you don't have it, that's when the stress is at its peak level.
Oh,
you can pay for the best coaches, and you can pay for the best salespeople, and you could pay for the best. Like, that's when you get to see your business get self-actualized to what you dreamed it could be. So Absolutely. Thank you, Scott, for everything you're doing for the fitness industry, man, because I know you're helping to challenge the beliefs that have been in our industry for too long, and getting people to upskill themselves so they can have the business of their dreams.
Absolutely. That's it. Freedom with your finances, freedom with your time, and your mindset. So Dustin, thank you so much for coming on, dropping these awesome gold nuggets on us. So really appreciate that. And again, to everyone listening, thank you for watching and listening to this episode. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave us a review if you found this knowledgeable. And last of all, Dustin, before we let everybody go, what's the best place for them to find you, connect with you?
Yeah, thank you for having me on, man. It's been a pleasure. Always love connecting with other people who have gone through all the muck to kind of get higher up in their business. So that's awesome, and love connecting and getting to know you more, Scott. But yes, thank you for, kind of like giving me this platform. They can find us at gymreinforcements.com. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Send me a DM, any type of questions you guys have about your follow-up in sales. I'll be happy to help. Do a free diagnosis, kind of just look at what's going on with your sales process, see if I could give you some free tips. Even if you don't work with us, I want to send you off with a better sales process so you can grow it. And not everybody is ready to work with us. We have a certain amount of leads you need, and you have to be willing to run paid ads, and that doesn't work for everybody. So we'll send you off with a better sales process. But yeah, gymreinforcements.com or all social media. And then I recently had Scott on my podcast, so give it a listen. And that's the Lunch with a Punch podcast, just for gym owners.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And everybody, thanks for listening in. We will see you next week on the PT Legends Show. Dave and myself, Scott, would love to thank you for tuning in and listening to the PT Legends podcast. You can get direct access to us by joining our free Facebook group. Go to www.facebook.com/groups/7-figure personal trainer. That's 7-figure personal trainer with the number 7. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you can keep on learning and keep on living. Finally, if you picked up any tips whatsoever in this episode that you found helpful, be sure to leave us a review and tell us what you like best about it. Can't wait to see you on the next episode.